what the series is about as I do what the series isn't about. This isn't a series about traditions being bad or customs being bad or habits being bad. This is a series about recognizing which ones are good and which ones are bad. Because the ones that the traditions and customs and habits that we elevate to the level of worship for Jesus, or worse, we elevate higher than Jesus, are going to leave you parched and missing something. Which is why I said that coming to pastor's brunch or coming to group nights is as important, if not more important, because I have found that it's our interaction with one another. It's our sharing with one another what God is doing in our lives and encouraging one another is I actually think it's more important than Sunday morning. I mean, that might be sacrilegious for a pastor to say that, but I believe it with all my heart. I mean, there's a group of guys that are meeting right now to talk about how to create more connectedness among us guys, because time's a problem for us, isn't it? And sometimes it's a problem that not of our own fault, because we live in a society where, you know, I'm not a wealthy person by any means, but honestly, I believe time is more valuable to me than money. While I don't have a lot of money, I feel like I have more of it than I do time. Can I get an amen to that? And again, it's not a criticism, but then if time is such a high commodity, we need to maximize it then, don't we? And sometimes our habits and our beliefs and our customs and traditions can get in the way. So while you may not be able to tip over a real cow, we do need to flip over a few sacred cows. And I think we all have them. We just need to recognize them. And again, that's what this series is about. So what my homework for you, I'm going to give you in advance this week, is just spend some time on your own this week. Take a lesson from Tammy and Melissa, and just, you know, look up traditions in the Bible and see what Jesus had to say about it. See how Jesus responded to tradition or customs, because I think it might take you by surprise. And here, so let me give you an example of why this is so important. Because Zig Ziglar, I don't know if you've ever heard of Zig Ziglar. He's now no longer with us, but he was a noted author, and he was an encourager, right? And he has some sayings that really would encourage us, provoke thought, to advance in our own life. Well, I don't have one of his sayings, but I do have a story about Zig Ziglar that I think will help us understand why we need to be very, very cautious about the sacred cows in our life. And the story he tells is that he was at a fair or some event where he won a country ham. Now, I know this is risky because this is the later service and we all have lunch plans, right? And so just think of this, that I'm whetting your appetite. So he wins this country ham, and he brings it home, and he gives it to his wife, and she proceeds to cook it for him. But before she cooks it, she cuts off the end of the ham. And he asks her, he said, "Why did you cut off the end of the ham before you cooked it?" To which she replied, "Because my mother always did." And so he thought about it, because he's really curious about how this benefits life. So he goes to his mother-in-law, and he asks her, he says, "You know, my wife, before she cooked our ham, cut off the end of it." And she said, "You do this. What's the reason?" And she said, "Because my mother did it." So he goes to his mother-in-law's mother, and he asks her, he says, "Okay, my wife, your granddaughter, and your daughter cut off the end of the ham before they begin to prepare it. Why do you do that?" And the grandmother replies, "I don't know why they do it, but I did it because my pan was too short." Isn't it amazing how we can adopt some things and integrate them into our life, and we really don't even know the reason why we do it. And we think it might be benefiting us somehow, but really all it denied them for years was a portion of a perfectly good ham. And I just have to wonder, when it comes to religion or our relationship with Jesus, how many things like this story from Zig Ziglar we have implemented in our life, and we really don't have a clue why we do it. It's just always been done that way. And we don't even know if it's really benefiting ourselves. And I just wonder if, in fact, if we really took a good look at it, could we actually benefit ourselves by not denying ourselves something that's perfectly good and available to us? It's just tradition has told us it needs to be cut off and discarded. So that's the whole premise of this series. See, here's what I have learned over the years about Jesus. Jesus was not afraid of change.